The alternative blend is made possible through the generous underwriting support of the Green Solution.
Welcome back, everybody. As promised, our friend Martha is going to take us through various ways to use cannabis. Where should we start?
Well, let's start with the fastest way to get cannabis into your body, which is to inhale it.
And that's sort of the traditional way.
That is the traditional way. And the reason is you think that the raw plant is full of THC, and it's not. It's full of THCA, tetrahydrocannabinol carbolic acid. And until you heat the plant, it is non-psychoactive. So pot smoking has been popular for millennia, but because by lighting it on fire, you drop the acid chain, which turns it into THC, which is what allows you to get high and also medical benefits. Now,
but you have to light it. You have to heat it.
You have to heat it, right.
Is this what you think the Indians smoke with the peace pipe? I do. I always kind of think that's why everybody was so peaceful.
I would certainly hope so. And I think the world might be more peaceful if we would continue with the peace pipe tradition.
I agree.
That's right.
So ingesting it by smoking it is the fastest way to get it into the system.
The fastest way to get it into your body. That's correct. It takes effect in 1 to 3 minutes. You literally have peak plasma, which means that we can see it in your blood within a minute. It's that fast.
Wow. Okay. And then people use it for both medical as well as recreational, obviously, in that form?
That's correct. You can use it medically, you can use it recreationally. From a medical standpoint, we really like inhaled medicine as a route of administration because it's actually very difficult to overdose. If you feel it so quickly that when you feel like you've had enough, you simply set the bong down and back away slowly, and it's out of your system quickly as well. It only lasts for about 90 minutes.
But that's different with everybody too, because what you explained to me before the show is it's fat soluble. So if I have if I maybe have a lot of fat, it might stay in my system a little bit longer. It also depends on how much I've eaten.
Okay, you're talking about edibles right now.
Oh, it's not true with ingesting tobacco? I mean, doesn't
we're
it
not
stay in my
talking
system?
about tobacco either. We're talking about cannabis, but
excuse me, cannabis,
so
heated and smoking.
Inhaling marijuana, and that can mean vaping, that can mean smoking, that can mean asthma-style inhalers where you breathe it into your lungs. When you breathe it into your lungs, the lungs are excellent transfer agents, and they transfer it directly to the bloodstream, so you feel it really quickly, so it's great for acute conditions. When you have the warning that the migraine is coming. If you take a hit right then, sometimes you can stop it from setting in and save yourself days of pain. If you feel the seizure starting, you take a puff right then. It's for acute problems. If your back hurts so badly that you can't rise out of a chair, taking a puff can somehow stop that sometimes, and very quickly.
And so to your point, because it's an immediate, it's easier to regulate.
It's difficult to overdose.
That's correct. And then, unlike an edible, if we can move on to edibles, you can take them. I've heard these stories. People take them, they're like, it's not affecting me at all. 20 minutes later, I'm still waiting. I'll take another one. And then they're wiped out.
We have a joke that edibles don't work until you insult them. When you diss that brownie, that's when it's going to knock you out.
You mean when you say it doesn't work?
That's right.
The insult.
Nothing's happening. I'm going to take the whole thing now. Don't do that, people. Okay.
I hear those stories. So,
that's the most common way that people have trouble with overconsumption is with edibles. So what happens is you think that you absorb things through your stomach. You don't. You absorb through the small intestine. It takes time to get down there, which is why it can be 30, 60, 90 minutes sometimes before it takes effect. Wow. It can be up to 2 hours, depending on what your last meal was, how many fats you've eaten, things like that. So it can be a long time before it takes effect. The difference is edibles stay with you for 6 to 8 hours. Once you've digested it, it's in your body and there's no going back, there's no stopping that. We'll talk a bit later about overconsumption remedies because there is a great one that really helps with edible overconsumption called Undo. And
let's talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now?
Yeah, just do it now.
So Undo is a product that came out about a year ago and it contains no cannabis whatsoever. One of the myths that we have to fight is that CBD counteracts THC. That is a total myth. CBD can sometimes make the effects of THC seem worse. So it's not reliable as an overconsumption remedy. So the best overconsumption remedy that we found is Undo, which is made from olive tall. And olive tall is made from, it's a substance that's extracted from lichen, the stuff reindeer eat off rocks. Right? And it's combined with olive oil in a soft gel. And what happens is it pushes the THC off the receptor without uncoupling it. It's actually patented for reducing the effects of marijuana overconsumption. So what happens is you still feel the marijuana in your body. So your back pain is gone, but it clears your head. So you don't
the psychoactive piece goes away.
You got it.
And is this a commercial product?
It's a commercial product.
Huh. I never heard of that. And so you would recommend that if somebody maybe overdoses on their edibles, not overdoses, but takes too much.
It's great for if, you know, if a kid gets into a drawer and eats your candy bar and they're all floppy and catatonic, this will make them, in about 20 minutes, they will stand up and be, I'm okay now, and be able to move under their own power and things again. I have seen that over, and I've been the only health professional at consumption events and had people overdose on edibles, and I've had them better within 10 to 20 minutes, where they're not totally better. They're still groggy, they're still sleepy.
That's a great tip, though. That's a great tip.
But they're able to get up and move around on their own power.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so what other ways can we ingest?
Okay, so inhaled marijuana, we've got vaping, we've got smoking, we've got asthma-style inhalers, we've got dabs. Dabs are the exception to the easy to control the dose rule, okay? Dabs, it's very easy to overdose because dabs are super concentrated forms of marijuana, typically made from hash oil, but they're up to 90% THC. And
what's a dab? What is a dab?
A dab is, once again, it's super concentrated hash oil, but a dab is a tiny amount of this super concentrated hash oil, so it's a single hit. But that single hit can contain 20, 30, 40 milligrams, whereas with smoking is actually a very low dose way of consuming. Smoking, you're usually only getting, 1 or 2 milligrams per hit, even with super strong marijuana. So dabs are the exception to the low dose there, and we don't recommend dabs for new patients at all. Puff, puff, pass out is the first time you take a dab in most cases. So please, people,
no dabbing.
Wait till you know what you're doing until you get anywhere near those dabs.
Okay, what else we have?
So we also have what we call oral administration, and these are things that are absorbed through the buccal membranes of the mouth. So drops that you put under your tongue are those. Hard candies that you'll suck on. So you have it in your mouth for a while, so it's going to be absorbed through the mouth membranes. It's kind of a good middle ground between inhaled marijuana and edibles. So we talked about edibles taking a long time to take effect, 30 to 90 minutes in some cases. With the oral administration, you're not smoking. It's in your mouth. It takes effect between 10 and 20 minutes. It's typically peak plasma in about 20 minutes. And it lasts for about 2 to 4 hours. So it's not going to last very long. It's really good as a kind of a starter introduction to medical marijuana.
I would think that would be a good thing, too, for maybe hospice patients.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe
it's an easy route of administration. It
like
can taste like plants. Is the only thing.
It tastes like plants?
Tastes like plants.
Oh,
The tinctures do, the drops you put under your tongue. So a tincture is typically a preparation of cannabis that's made by taking the flower and grinding it and putting it in either ethyl alcohol or glycerin or something like that. But it's decarboxylated, which means the acid chain has fallen off the end so that it's made into a full THC preparation. And then you just drop it under your tongue.
So, but could I also put it like in my tea or my coffee or soup, or does it break it down differently or no?
That's the thing, is some people feel that the alcohol burns the mouth, and what you just described would evaporate the alcohol off of it. So if you boil water like for tea and pour that boiling water in a shot glass and then drop the tincture on top of that, the alcohol will evaporate off and you won't have the problem with the alcohol effect.
But it doesn't minimize the effects of it in any way. It doesn't break it down in any way. So I can put it in soup or a tea or a coffee or something like that. That seems like a really easy way to take it, I would think.
That is an easy way to take it.
And in your patients, most of them take it how? Is it all over the board, or is there predominantly one way?
So most of our patients don't want to be high, they want to be better. So they use the THC portion of the treatment mainly at night. And that can be an edible at bedtime. It could be some drops under the tongue. It could be a couple of puffs before they go to bed. It could be a cannabis patch or an ointment that they rub on. It could be a suppository. There's also some novel routes of administration.
Oh, that's interesting.
We also have nasal sprays, women's products, intimate oils, things like that. There's a bunch of great things out there right now.
Well, you also talked a little bit before the show, you told me about like topicals. There are two different kinds, one that sort of penetrates the skin and one that doesn't. Can you tell us about those?
That's correct. So there's regular topicals which work on the outside of the skin. You've heard of Icy Hot?
Of course,
So we have one that we sell in clinic that we refer to as Icy Pot.
Oh, how clever. I love that.
So it's camphor and menthol, like an Icy Hot.
Yeah.
And then it also has arnica, white willow bark, and then hemp oil for the CBD.
Is this for pain?
It's for pain. It's for musculoskeletal pain. And you rub it on the sore muscle where it hurts. And that reduces inflammation at that local site and also acts as an analgesic, just like Icy Hot, but with some weed in it.
Icy Pot. I just love that. And then there's another kind of topical that penetrates the skin a bit more.
There's what we call transdermals. And transdermals are things like cannabis patches and gels. And some of the gels are made by adding an uptake agent, like the cannabis patch typically has an uptake agent, and the uptake agent actually pulls it into your bloodstream, or we believe it's pulled into the bloodstream. There's no actual studies on this yet, but we know that people do feel psychoactive effects on it, so we assume it's getting into the bloodstream. So what you do with a cannabis patch or a gel is you put it over a veiny area on your body. And I have great veins that are just right there. So
I do too.
Yeah, you do.
Phlebotomist loves mine,
I'm
yeah.
sure. So there's ones that are made by making it into a super small particle, and those are called nanoemulsions. So they take the hemp oil or cannabis oil or THC or whatever it is, and they put it in a big blender, and they make it into a super teeny tiny particle.
So I can get through my...
You got it,
okay.
and that's where you rub it over a veiny area, and you'll actually feel some psychoactive effects from that. Cannabis patches, same thing, put it over a venous area, contains that uptake agent. Those, we have great results with things like this. We really do, especially for people who are afraid of smoking. The patches, the nice thing about it is they're time regulated. Like a nicotine patch, the glue that sticks it to your arm is what regulates how quickly it pulls into the bloodstream. So like a nicotine patch, it will last for 6 to 8 hours.
Well, there's just so much information, and we're out of time already. I can't believe it. It's just incredible. I hope you'll come back, and I'm sure you will. You're going to be our resident nutritionist that comes out, helps us through this. I thank you so much.
No
so
problem.
much education. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
We'll see you soon.
The Alternative Blend is made possible through the generous underwriting support of the Green Solution.